and welcome to episode 4 of Cooperative Game Chat. I am the Wiz.
And I'm Zero.
Zero, we have a few topics today that are interesting. Some are repeats, but one is a big one from last week that we mentioned, so let's just get right down to it. We both have been heavily playing Lost Ark, which is the new Korean MMO that came out last week. We were both founders, so we got to play early, so we're a little bit farther than most. But anyway, yeah. So with that, why don't we talk about our feelings on Lost Ark so far as a game before we get into more of the nitty-gritty stuff? What do you think of the game so far?
The game's fun, albeit I know I've seen some articles from places like Kotaku kind of complaining about some of the design choices, which...
a Kotaku hit piece? That's when you know it's good.
Yeah, in particular, it's kind of the piece that they recently put out, which was as this game is clearly outdated even before it hit the ground, and it's just like, well, yeah, did you not do your research? This game's been running in Korea and Russia for like 3+ years now. Of course, it's going to be out of date by modern video gaming standards.
No, modern Western standards. It's all, that's the other thing, that this is clearly not to the standards that we're used to on our side of the shore. Which even by in some aspects, it's not even our standards really. That is up to date. So.
Yeah, and I think what was funny was apparently the Korean community had seen the piece by Kotaku, and the Korean community has made fun of it, going, "Lol, well, what do you expect? Like 79% of the community in Korea who play Lost Ark are men, so naturally, naturally, just the developers are going to target men as the target demographic to try to monetize the shit out of it."
Absolutely.
So,
and just because
hilarious.
and just because the game's media is hyper vigilant on, I would say, somewhat unnecessary things, it doesn't mean that it won't sell back here. It clearly will, and it clearly has with other games around in this market too.
Yeah, and I know that with the Western release from Amazon Game Studios, they have done some small localization changes to Westernize the game too. Like, some of the costumes were far skimpier in the Korean version of the game. They're actually somewhat less skimpier in the Western release of the game. So it's something that clearly isn't really final yet. So to kind of immediately pass judgment on it, going, and lol, bad Korean game, it's just kind of premature, especially when the game is still just trying to kind of wade and find its feet and everything.
Well, like I mentioned and how I alluded to, Kotaku is a website that immediately takes something that's popular and decides to put a hit piece on it to make clicks. That's what they do. They do it all the time, and this is not surprising. They had over the weekend, before that article came out, they had 4 articles on that game just by how they're surprised how it's popular, how many concurrent users there are, how many people during the founders week were playing the game, who bought into it. I mean, it was going to be within reason. I was expecting it, honestly, that at some point they're going to say, "Oh, there's going to be a hit piece." It's coming.
Yeah. Though at the same time, there's also been some really interesting problems that have cropped up with the actual final launch of Lost Ark to the West. Mainly, launch day was nothing but a disaster.
Both launch days were disasters.
Yeah, though the the broad launch day was just a disaster in itself because right at about 8 a.m. Eastern time, they had to take the servers down for maintenance, and of course, they put a little notice saying, "Hey, we're going to put the game on maintenance from starting at 8 a.m. Eastern time. The maintenance will take about 4 hours, so we'll see you in 4 hours for the official launch."
Hmm.
So of course, everyone's just counting down the hours and just getting excited. And of course, just right when right when 12 Eastern hits, uh-oh,
Yeah.
sudden post by the Amazon Games admin for the American, or excuse me, the Western Lost Ark social media account. Hi, so we've encountered unforeseen issues. We are going to have to delay the launch. We don't know how long we're going to have to delay it. So many hours fly by, and then finally they make an announcement right around, I think, 5 p.m. Eastern. They were like, "Hey, so we're gonna have the game live in about 15 minutes, so 5:15 Eastern. So get ready, guys. It's happening." So of course, 5:15 hits, another new problem crops up. Some people in the Gallater server apparently had no main story quest in their quest log, and they had no way to get any sort of main story quests from any NPCs. Their games were effectively soft locked.
This.
So that was one problem that happened.
Bless you.
The other problem that happened was some people in various servers, both in US West, US East, um, Europe Central, and some of the South American servers, apparently there was an issue where when you tried to log into the servers right at about 5:15, it would say, "Hi, you have no characters on any servers."
Hmm.
So that was another big uh-oh. So once again, the Amazon Games moderator jumped on the Lost Ark social account and said, "Hey, so there's yet another problem. So we apologize. This is going to take us a little while to fix. So um, we'll be back." So 2 hours then pass, and then finally they go, "Okay, servers are back up. Have fun. It's going to be an exciting day." And then so a new problem cropped up when the game finally was good to launch, which was mostly the worst for Europe, but still a problem for some of the other regions, which was server queues and server load, and the fact that all the items in the Founders Pack are bound to your character, not bind to account. So the mounts, the special banners and graphics and titles, and all the other stuff. So you had situations where basically people who were part of the early access period had gone ahead and popped all the items and everything from their Founders Pack on their preferred server to play, but their friends who were waiting to play for free on Friday may not have been able to get into the server because I believe even this still stands as of now. You have servers like Una, Azina, Gallater, and a few other servers on US East, for example. They had character creation locks where you couldn't create a brand new character and everything. So a lot of these people who made characters on the real popular servers basically faced a dilemma. They could go ahead and keep on playing on their preferred server, and hope to high hell that their friends created a character on a different server but in the same data center, so that when endgame hits that they could just go ahead and add their friend on their roster list and basically ping them out with a party request to do like a cross server party for some of the endgame stuff. But if their friend created, say, a character on a completely different data center, then at that point the person who had founders access had to either debate, do I keep playing on my preferred server where I popped all my founders goodies on, or do I start over with nothing on a brand new data center and just kind of go through the struggle with my friends. So um, that ended up um, opening a whole sort of new dialogue with the Amazon Game Services crew. Um, I believe the moderator Rocks ended up saying, "Hey, so if you break open your founders pack before February 14th, sometime in the morning, then if you create another character on a different server, we'll give you a light version of whatever founders pack you bought. So some of the things that you'll get are some of the mounts and pets and stuff, but don't expect things like your founder's title or anything like that. And you'll get a pittance of your currency, the royal gems, uh, redeemed to whichever server you end up jumping to." So some people were like, "Oh yeah, that's fine." And then of course you have some people who are on the other end of it going, "No, I paid for my damn founders pack. You're gonna give me my damn founders pack no matter where you go, or you're gonna learn how to figure out how to bind on account all of my pets and my mounts." So it has just become a mess of its own with just how overburdened these servers are. And I'm sure you've seen it where the queue's like, "Oh, the queue's 4,000 players."
Yeah.
So tough luck.
Oh yeah. What was it? The official launch day was packed throughout the night. It wasn't until around 11 o'clock at night where I finally was able to get on it one night. But yeah, it was packed, but it wasn't overbearing. It felt healthy, the amount of people that were on the servers. It never felt too crowded or packed, but then again, we had a head start, so maybe that's why it didn't feel so bad when I got in there.
Yeah, so I think really those were really the major problems that happened. But apparently, the server load in Europe was extremely bad because I think I saw some threads on Reddit saying that some of the queues were as bad as like 20,000 players waiting to get into some of these servers in Europe, which that just sounds just incredibly insane, that there's that bad of a queue. And it's even become a meme at this point for some of the European players because uh, I think on the Steam reviews, some of the European players have posted like reviews that are essentially memes of, "Oh yeah, so Lost Ark, great game, but there's going to be a pretty long wait. So um, in addition to this good review, I'm also going to post a recipe on how to bake your own pizza to pass the time until you can clear the queue in Lost Ark and log in."
Oh.
So, but I think if I remember the official post from Rox and some of the other moderators from Amazon Game Studios, they basically had said, "Yes, we know the server load problem is extremely bad in Europe, but to combat that, we're going to add a new region, and that region is, I think, Europe West." And of course, that brought up the same problem that a lot of the North American players have had, which is, okay, well, that's great that you're adding a new region with its own subset of servers, but now you have a problem because some of us have broken into our founders packs, and our founders packs are bind on character, not bind on account, and our royal gems don't come with us with going to another region. So how do you plan to fix this? And of course, Rox and some of the other moderators have said, "Hey, that's a fair concern. We understand, but we didn't design the game. We're just the localizers. So we're going to have to work with Smilegate to see how we can make things good to make migration a little bit more easier, or maybe even go as far as lessening the brunt of things." So it's a real sad mess for for you the European region. So
Yeah.
um, I'll be interested to see how they actually commit to making everything good and incentivizing people to switch servers because, yeah, just I know a lot of the European community has basically said, yeah, even if they put up the new regions, I'm not switching because unless I have some sort of guarantee that just the almost 80 to 100 hours that we put into the game is not just going to be completely thrown in the garbage, then hell no, I'll just have to sit through and wait through this like 20,000 player queue.
No, we both had queue issues in the beginning. It's been okay since then. I've been able to get onto my games at any time pretty well at this point, so I haven't had that many issues getting on. Have you had issues as of recently?
I think really the worst queue that I've seen is maybe a 4,000 player queue, but um, even with a 4,000 player queue, I lucked out and got in within about 30 or so minutes. So it wasn't it wasn't completely awful, but
No.
still somewhat of a, in my opinion, a healthy-ish wait.
Okay. Now we're playing different types of characters in this game, and I think it's good because we can both get a different sense of how the game is for each of us, that and the differences that we're having. I'm a gun lancer, and you're soul fist, right? Right.
Yeah.
So you're more DPS, I'm more tank. Um, I have noticed that the more and more I get into the higher levels, I'm at 47 right now, the less and less damage I make, even though I'm building up on gear. So I know, and I didn't realize I chose one of the tougher classes in the game. I thought I chose one that was pretty easy. You tank, you soak up damage, and you hit things. That's what I thought I was going for. Turns out I took one of the harder ones. But you're more of a DPS. Do you find it a little more difficult with how your character has to be, or has it been a straight shot for you to blow through all the content?
Um, I think only maybe level 33, 34, so not quite as far into the game as I'd like to be, but I've got some real life stuff that's keeping me from playing all day.
Yeah.
So, as far as what I can speak to for Soulfist, it's really interesting. I love the combat flow of playing Soulfist. It just feels very fluid, very relaxing, even. Mostly because you kind of have to study how your techniques work, and then watch how they flow together and everything. So it's kind of combo centric. So like I'll have an opening technique where my character she'll run towards an enemy and strike them with her fist, and then I'll use another technique which draws in any enemies that were hit by knockback from my initial move right back to me, and then I'll use a third technique that does a three-hit strike and has a potential of having knockback to the enemies. And then to kind of round out my combo, I'll use I'll use one of the Soul Fist attacks that basically shoots a death ray out of her hands.
Hmm.
And so that's kind of the combo flow that I go with as a Soul Fist. And then for the A, S, D, and F keys for the second row of character skills, I'll I'll have like another backup set of more AOE skills. So things that I can use when I get surrounded by a bunch of enemies to give me sort of a way out.
I've used the basic ones that I've been given, basically, but I've leveled up like the more powerful skills. I have the first four being like a combo kind of, where you press Q, W, E, R in succession, and it'll do this combo where you then shoot them up in the air, and they explode, and then the whole group explodes, comes back, pulls it in, and then I can do an AOE on my F key, I think, that is all electricity. So I have it all leveled up to that point where there's a ton of AoE damage there. The only issue is I can't really dodge or run fast at all. The only thing they give you as a gun lancer is a hop backwards in order to not get hit. So I gotta be really judicial about where I attack things. So with the harder bosses, I tend to die a lot.
Oof, yeah, that sounds like a rough beat for the gun lancer.
Yeah. Bless you.
Um, uh, and then on the other end of things, I ended up making another character on another server just to sort of see how bad the queues are for some of the newer servers that were created on the North American East server.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up making a sorcerer class.
Yeah.
And sorceress, holy cow, she is just a DPS monster, just blowing up things. Lots of AoE range damage. So if I remember some of the chatter on the Korean forums, the sorceress is really good if you like to just do tons of AoE and everything, mostly because just she's got a wide range for a lot of her attacks, and a lot of her attacks just cover a wide swath of space.
Interesting. Yeah, so like I've seen sorceresses rolling around. I've seen a lot of people using Berserker, which surprised me. Or is it a Berserker or is it something else?
If you're seeing a giant sword wielding person spinning to win, then yeah, it's probably Berserker.
Yeah, that's the guy. Yeah, I've seen a lot of that running around. He looks cool. That might be my alt I go for when I reach 50, which is soon. Which I think I'm going to get that done tonight. A thing I've noticed after getting the stronghold is that leveling slows down to, I think, not an unhealthy degree, but you notice that, I'm not leveling up as much as I used to.
Yeah, definitely, because I just unlocked the stronghold as well too, and just there's so much to do. Just hey, you should develop weapons. Hey, you should develop potions. You should develop food recipes that can give you a whole bunch of buffs. You need to do research for some of the other smaller islands that are on your stronghold so you can open up further facilities. You should upgrade your manor so you have more stamina to burn through for research and development of things and furniture and all sorts of decorations to put in your stronghold.
I am surprised the stronghold hasn't been made into some sort of app as of recently, or it's not being developed as an app as well for people who are off the game, because a lot of it is a lot of busy work and develop this and wait 2 hours for this and like stuff like that, like you do in most free-to-play games on a cell phone, where I think that might end up being something they should look into if this is as successful as I think it's going to be. I've seen a lot of YouTube videos, mainly from a Russian YouTuber. I forgot his name, unfortunately, but a good amount of YouTubers are saying this is going to fail here. This will fail in the West mainly because of how grindy and play to win it is after you get to level 50 and after you get through all of those other things. I don't see that though. I see how grindy it is. I see how some might turn off of it, but there's also those that as soon as you put in the time, like I'm 30 hours in, I think you're probably about 15 to 20 hours in. I mean,
right at 20, yeah.
Right at 20, okay. I could see a lot of people putting the time in anyway, and if they find that the time is worth it, yeah, they'll throw a few bucks in for like a cosmetic or something. And as long as you can average, let's say there was 1.3 million this past weekend that played this game concurrently.
Yeah.
If you can average $5 for each concurrent person, you have a huge hit.
Yeah, and it's funny because the pay to win argument is really, really misinformed because um, the people who are making that argument clearly haven't really just read the patch notes, especially the launch one, because the launch one had a big, big, big footnote about how they were westernizing this game, because Amazon Game Studios apparently studied the demographic for the Western market, and they're just like, hey, the Western market's really not going to stand for a lot of the pay to win shenanigans that you can do in the Korean version of the game and the Russian version of the game. So pretty much just we're concentrating a lot of our monetization plan on things like cosmetic stuff, so pets, um, things like mounts, and also the Crystal and Aura subscription. So
Mhm.
that's really where it seems to be that they're concentrating a lot of their monetization efforts, and that's where sort of the pay to win thing sort of argument falls on its face. But at the same time, I would almost make the equivalency of buying the Royal Crystal currency um, to Warframe. That Warframe, where in Warframe, platinum is great, but platinum doesn't mean that you can immediately just speed through the game. It makes
No.
some of the grind of the game a lot less severe, yes, but that doesn't mean it's pay to win. And I think that's kind of the same thing that I see with the Royal
Yeah.
Crystals. That it's great if you want to sort of speed up some of the grindy bits of the game, but the Royal Crystals don't really make it pay to win to the exact sense of, hey, you can instantly get a whole bunch of gear really fast, because that's just not how the game's designed for the Western release, at least.
And from what I've played from 1 to 50 or 1 through 47 where I'm at, the crystalline aura that we got with the founders pack, the only thing that's been, I think, usable on that has been the tripods or the tripads. They're free to use instead of 50 silver to use.
Oh yeah,
So
the triports and stuff. Yeah.
right, like that's not entirely necessary. You don't need that. If you don't mind paying the 50 cents, the 50 silver each time, that of course makes things go a little bit faster, going from here to there, or whatever. You don't need it, but you're right. It's used for convenience more than it is to beat the game, because you still need the skill and you still need the knowledge to play the game in order to beat it efficiently.
Yep. And I think that's another reason why the pay to win argument falls apart, because especially once you start getting into things like uh, the Abyss dungeons and the Alliance raids and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's where a lot of your skill as a player really starts to show, and there's really no paying your way out of it, because a lot of those some of the patterns are really, really insane, especially since with the Legends of Lost Ark um, region race that's going on with the free Twitch drops and everything. Some of the streamers that I've been following are already doing some of the Alliance raids and some of the abyssal dungeons and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. And some of the boss patterns just look absolutely insane. And if you're thinking that you can sort of autopilot through them, it's not as easy as just kind of turning your brain off and just going on autopilot for the entire fight, because some of these bosses, they start to change patterns right at like 66% of their HP left to 33% of their HP left. It gets into almost some of the more unique unique boss patterns that you would see in like Diablo 2 even.
Hmm. Now, we talked a lot about the game itself and its pay to win and the arguable pay to win mechanics. Does this have enough to succeed here?
That is going to be the interesting piece to see because, in my mind, I think really the big thing is if they can kind of clear the situation with this whole the server mess,
Mm-hmm.
especially because a lot of people were hoping to play Lost Ark with their friends, and in my opinion, um, just a game that has the combat feel of a Diablo game is best played with friends, in my opinion. And some people not being able to play it with their friends, I get it. That could be real frustrating, but um, I think that might be a potential pain point that they have to get past. And if they do, then um, I think that the success won't be really any question that things will be fine for the game. But if the proposed solution that they end up working out, if it doesn't really hit the mark, then you might end up with some people with bitter buyer's remorse and going, fuck this, I'm not going to play this game anymore.
Hmm.
If I have to create a brand new character on the server on a server where all my friends are at and lose all the founder stuff that I paid um, 15, 25, 50 to $100 on, then no deal.
Yeah.
So I think that's really the main hurdle that they've got to solve because uh, I know for me it really doesn't matter since you're also on the same server as me, and
Yeah.
uh, so is one of my local friends.
Oh, good.
But I know one of my other local friends. He ended up making a character on Mari, which is on US West, and it turns out that all of his friends don't like the game, and he's just like, well, this stinks. I redeemed all my founder stuff on Mari, and had I known that you were going to be much more active and that you actually have a set of folks who seem to be interested in actively playing, I would have just gone ahead and said and told my friends, okay, screw you guys, I'm gonna go hang out with another set of people who are actively playing the game and having fun
Yeah.
on Una. So that's kind of where I can see the relatability of the situation of just people people kind of being stuck in a bit of a quandary with redeeming their founders pack on a server that either their friends are no longer playing or a server that is not where all of their friends are and everything.
Now the founders packs. Um, there was the cosmetics, the crystalline aura, which is the 30-day. You get a discount on a whole bunch of stuff. God, I bought the damn thing and I don't remember what was in it.
Yeah, depends on which level because I'm probably one of the more eccentric ones. I bought the platinum pack, so I
Oh
got
Jesus,
the
dude!
um so I got the Cerberus mount, and then for all the packs there was the little kitten with a crown pet that collects all your drop loot and everything.
Yeah.
And I think all the founders packs got a 30-day trial of the crystal and aura stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that was there for everyone. And then for certain levels, you had a um, armory chest of goodies for levels 20, 30, 40, and 50. And depending on which pack you bought, um, you either got like a chest that gave you a small amount of stuff to on the platinum on the platinum level you have chests that give you like a whole bunch of potions for a certain level and everything.
Hmm. Okay. So if they get that stuff squared away, who knows if they do? I think this is going to be a successful game. You don't get 1.3 million people interested in the game and it suddenly die off because of, I guess, because maybe it will because of a bad decision that was made on their part. They're going to fix that to keep the player base. They would be smart to do that. On that, it may take about a month or 2 or 3 to do it, but I think they will end up doing that. I don't know if it will be as successful as a Final Fantasy or a World of Warcraft. The story isn't that hot. The game looks great, and being in the different types of worlds are interesting, and they're visually pleasing. The story and dialogue kind of sucks though, so you're kind of playing the game for set pieces, which the set pieces are good. The siege is good in this game, but I think there's gonna be a lot more people interested in this game, and I think this will, like I said, if you can get on average, a person to spend $5 on this game, you have a success, and I think they can do that easily in this game, just for cosmetic reasons. And also, the cosmetics have different stats too, right?
They're minor stats, as far as some of the cosmetic stuff go. Not really anything that's like going to immediately start like breaking the meta or anything, because I think some of the cosmetics I have like give you maybe like plus 1% strength or something, so not really enough to make a difference or anything, but just cute things to have. And to your point about the success of the game, I think really just the thing that may have a lot of people coming back to it pretty regularly is going to be the combat. Just the combat flow just feels so good, and
Yeah.
I think that's personally what has me just hooked on it, because when I'm just in my zone and I just I can kite the enemies to like a kill box. Just I can just start wailing on them with my combo setup, and just kind of feed them into the kill box. Just keep them closely grouped enough together so that when I use some of the projectile attacks and everything, it just hits them all in a group and just does just wild damage. So, and I think personally that's going to be the big hook to really get a lot of people into playing, just kind of experiencing just the Diablo style combat. And then you might have people going, hey, I want to get the Vanguard pack, which is kind of like the little starter pack of goodies and everything, since I think all the founders packs have been retired.
Yeah, I think that was just for people who were gonna jump into the beginning.
Yeah. So yeah, just and even the basic starter pack is like $20. So yeah, just I agree with you. If even if you have somebody just buying $5 worth of royal crystals, or maybe if you have at least one person buying the apprentice starter pack, which is like the $20 starter pack, out of a user base of almost 1.3 million users, yeah, that ends up being a giant chunk of cash.
Honestly, I'm looking at the Steam page right now. Right now, reviews are mixed. I'm guessing that's because of the server issues.
Yeah, the server issues, and also just some of the lack of clarity on how the Founders Pack and also the new Starter Pack redemptions work. Especially since some of the stuff is bind on character versus just bind on account, and just no matter where you create a character, being able to be guaranteed just the ability to get whichever thing you ended up paying into.
Well, finally, other final thing, we both think this is going to be a successful game.
Oh yeah, personally, I think it will be a success. It won't be like you said. It's not going to be stratospheric in success like Final Fantasy XIV or World of Warcraft, but I think it'll be either a small success or maybe at most a moderate success.
Okay. And that's all you need really, and that can get it. And if they go console, it's like they may do it since there's a keypad or a gamepad version of this game on there. I mean, that can bring more sales too. So we'll see from there. All right.
Yeah. I think Smilegate has publicly said that they don't foresee any plans to bring it out to console, but at the same time, I'm of the camp of never say never, especially knowing how big the console install bases are worldwide.
Yeah.
That would be just sort of a dumb thing to ignore.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Okay, so let's move on. One of the big things that happened last week was, of course, the Nintendo Direct. It happened on Wednesday. We record on Tuesdays, so we weren't able to talk about it. A lot was announced, but we're gonna condense it into the more important things about the Direct that is more on Nintendo's business side than really what the best announcement was. So for the Nintendo Direct, a bunch of stuff were announced. They have a bunch of let me see here. They have a bunch of updates for games. They announced the Mario Strikers. They announced Xenoblade Chronicles 3. They announced Chrono Cross Radical Dreamers Edition. They announced a bunch of past games are coming to the Switch, which was interesting to me that they're porting over a bunch of older titles. Long, what stuck out for you throughout this February Direct?
As far as some of the things that were interesting, Fire Emblem's Warriors 3 Hopes was definitely interesting to see because I know Fire Emblem Warriors, which had came out as a Switch launch title, that one was quite popular, and I'd sort of kind of been sitting and wondering, okay, well, just it's been a little while since Fire Emblem Three Houses came out. I wonder when the Warrior spin-off is coming out. And to kick off the Direct with that was kind of nice to see as sort of a confirmation of, just we're doing the Warrior spin-off because that's what it seems a lot of people are interested in. And one of the other things that was kind of real interesting to see was Front Mission First Remake.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Especially because of the fact that just Front Mission is one of the few Square Enix tactical strategy games that sort of gets put at the bottom of the toy box, and to see them put it into a Nintendo Direct with top billing was really interesting to see. For anyone who's concerned about it, the game is being developed by Forever Entertainment, which is a good thing because these folks were behind the Panzer Dragoon remake, which that one started a little rough, but after the first patch, the game basically was everything a Saturn retro collector could want because it was like the Saturn edition, just with prettier graphics.
No, they went nostalgia heavy on this Direct, to me at least, because like you mentioned, they announced the Front Mission ones. I keep forgetting they announced the Front Mission remakes, which I'm excited for. I remember playing Front Mission on the DS when it came out. And of course, I'm a huge fan of Front Mission 3. What else? No Man's Sky is coming, which was interesting. No
Man's Sky is being ported, which that just seems amazing because of the fact that just that game's got the usual infinite procedural generation shenanigans and everything, and it's not a cloud version. It is a 100% legit. This is running on Switch version, unlike the Kingdom Hearts Integrum Masterpiece Collection, which is 3 Kingdom Hearts games that are only available on the cloud. So that was seeing the No Man's Sky announcement was really interesting to see, and I was just like, okay, well, this is clearly just got to be a cloud version. And then, of course, they confirmed, like, nope, this is a 100% real deal. This will run on your Switch console, sort of a thing. So it was amazing to see. And um, Chrono Cross, the Radical Dreamers edition, that one just made my had set my heart on fire, because I'm probably one of the weird ones that really loved Chrono Cross when I was younger.
A lot of people like Chrono Cross. It's just not as good as Chrono Trigger. That's
Yeah,
the main thing about it.
yeah.
And
So
people,
some of the folks who like Chrono Trigger will sandbag the shit out of Chrono Cross. They'll be like, "Oh God, you like that game? Garbage!" And I'm just like, "It's not garbage. Yes, the game isn't as good as Chrono Trigger, but I quite like the whole dimension hopping thing. It seems very interesting."
mm,
So, but the unique thing about this one is it comes with the visual novel Radical Dreamers, which, for anyone who's not familiar with the lineage of the whole thing, Radical Dreamers was originally a Super Famicom Satellaview game. So, literally, the only way you could play it was you had to have this satellite attachment attached to your Super Famicom in Japan, and you could only play certain episodes on certain weeks when the satellite would be in range over Japan and could beam down the episodes to your Super Famicom. So to be able to play the game without any sort of weird time locked complications is just flat out amazing to see. And Radical Dreamers is essentially the prelude to Chrono Cross, so it's
yeah.
great to see just the entire saga being condensed into one collection. That one is very exciting, and the fact that it's on pre-order for $20 on the eShop, what a banger of a value!
You just said, I'm sorry. Square Enix just set it up to succeed there, because for $20, even if you heard about it and you've only heard things about it from people who love Chrono Trigger, you're going to look at $20, look at two games that are vitally important to how games are now. One is essentially a visual novel, and the other is an RPG that is considered important and has an amazing soundtrack. And you're going to want to buy that immediately, not even thinking about it. And that's perfect. That's almost perfect that you'd want to buy that for $20. Like, I'm thinking about buying it for $20.
Yeah, $20 is right at impulse buy territory,
Yeah.
and I agree. Just most people are just like, okay, well, just how bad can this game be for $20? And who knows? You might have some people go, hey, you know what? This Chrono Cross game isn't as bad as I was led to believe, which I think would be great as someone who quite loved Chrono Cross.
Now, I wish they would do the same thing for Klonoa 1 and 2. Klonoa, this is the Wii remake and the PS2 game that's being repackaged. And I haven't, let me double check the price, but I know one of the people that are in our servers is from, what do you call it? Australia, yes. And the pricing of that is, oof, that's harsh.
Yeah, for people who want perspective, one of our friends in Australia was posting that she was wanting to buy the Klonoa Fantasy Reverie collection, and in Australia for a physical copy, and this is just the standard one, so not even the digital deluxe edition. It is a whopping 90 Australian dollars, which,
Boy,
for rounding's sake, the $1 Australian is about 70 US cents. So just to round it up for ease, let's just say it's almost a 1-to-1 parity to the US dollar. So to pay $90 is just insane.
yeah. And no store right now is giving me an amount of money that this is going to be right now. So I would have said 30 would be the most I'd pay for this. And it's, and if it's not, if it's 30, then they're being really silly as to not saying how much it is right now. So I'm getting the feeling this is gonna be a $40 or $50 set, which, as much as I like Klonoa, that's not a good price.
Yeah, for speculation purposes, I decided to research and see what the pricing in Japan was. So the standard edition of the game is being priced at about 5,000 yen.
Uh huh.
So for kind of quick equivalency sake, 100 yen is about $1. Just to make it easier on folks trying to do the math in their head.
Okay.
So 5,000 yen, that's about $50. And then you have the digital deluxe edition, which is going to be priced at about 7,000 yen, so $70.
Mm-hmm.
So if we want to try to extrapolate this for what the U.S. release price is going to be, a good example of a game that was recently released, which had a very similar pricing scale in Japan, would be the Ace Attorney Chronicles. The standard edition for that one in Japan had the same price of 5,000 yen, and then the digital deluxe edition, which came with the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles plus the Ace Attorney 1, 2, and 3 collection,
Mm-hmm.
was priced at 7,000 yen in Japan. So when those two respective editions came out to the U.S. market, the standard edition of Ace Attorney Chronicles was about $40, and then the digital deluxe edition was priced at 60. So I would probably say, with relative safety, that the Klonoa collection, just the standard edition, is likely going to be $40, and then the digital deluxe package will be probably priced at $60.
Yeah. I guess. I agree with you. That's probably what the prices are going to be, but that's too much for two games that, as much as I like those games, there's not much. It doesn't look like there's much being changed. They look like just ports of the two games, and
Ports make graphic cleanup, but
yeah,
looks like it.
And what is it? And the reason they are selling this is because they want to see if they can make another one. So, am I wrong on that one? Because that's my feeling. Is like they're testing the waters to see if they have a possibility of making a third Klonoa.
Yeah, I would have no doubts that this is probably just a good litmus test to see if there's enough interest worldwide for um, either a third Klonoa game or maybe a reboot of the series. So
Yeah.
that would be my speculation on it.
Okay. So let's keep moving on with the direct. Portal 1 and 2 came out as being ported to Switch, which was interesting.
And then, on top of that, I think Portal also has gyro controls,
Oh, that's interesting.
which, if I remember correctly, that was lightly talked about in the trailer. So that'll be very interesting, especially if it turns out that there's some interesting speedrunning tech, because if that ends up opening a unique way of beating the game, I would not be surprised to see the Switch version of the Portal collection being put on something like an Awesome Games Done Quick charity marathon or something.
And then Live a Live, which is a cult 90s Square Enix RPG that I never heard of until that day.
Yeah, that so Live Alive is a
Live
insane.
Didn't I ask if this was Live a Live or Live Alive, and you said the opposite?
I thought so, and then I watched the trailer real quick before we started the podcast. And apparently, the announcer was like "Live Alive," and I was like, "All right," so I guess that's how it's pronounced.
All right.
So, but yeah, so Live Alive is a massive Super Famicom cult classic from the '90s era Square Enix, or rather SquareSoft. I believe that there's 6 characters with all different stories in all sorts of different time periods. You've got like one character who's from the caveman age. You've got one person who's from like feudal China. You've got someone who's from the present. You've got someone who's from the future, and then a robot from the way distant future. And all these characters have their own stories, but some of the decisions and things that you do in some of their timelines can have rippling effects throughout the other characters' timelines. And this one is huge, in my opinion, for just sort of kind of cashing in on the retro gaming crowd, because for the longest while, the only way to play Live Alive was to find a fan translated ROM, especially if your primary language isn't English, or excuse me, isn't Japanese, to find a fan translation of the ROM and then run the ROM on whatever your preferred choice of Super Nintendo emulation software was.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much the only way to play this. And the actual carts were starting to become collector's items to the retro gaming community. So anyone who wanted to own a physical copy of it, it was just starting to slowly get prohibitively expensive to buy a copy. So for this one to sort of show up and have the HD 2D remake sort of treatment given to it was very interesting to see. And I don't think I've seen how much the online pre-order for that one is, but hopefully it's not too expensive. But that one I know for sure just had a lot of folks sort of talking about just picking up the game and everything. Oh wow. I just pulled it up and apparently it's a whopping $50.
What, alive, alive, live alive, live alive?
Yeah, Live Alive. But I think it's because it's getting the HD 2D treatment, so it's kind of like the same treatment that the Final Fantasy remakes are getting.
Yeah, and Dragon Quest III is getting that remake, right?
Yeah, Dragon Quest 3 is getting a HD remake done to it, so just crispy, crunchy pixels, much more saturated colors, and the whole shebang.
Okay. I mean, the big theme, it seems to me, for the Switch is they're digging into the past to bulk up the Switch's library this year. Like,
Yeah.
it looks like, with the exception of Fire Emblem Warriors and the new Kirby game, and I guess Xenoblade Chronicles 3, they're digging into the past to give the system more titles for the year, which kind of says two things to me. One, Metroid Prime 4 and Breath of the Wild 2 ain't coming this year. And B, I mean, this is a good thing for the Switch because it shows how healthy it is. Because you don't need to have huge announcements for it to be successful, and it's getting those rare kind of obscure types of titles that it can feature when it's a success, and you can put on those strange titles in there that people maybe are not expecting or they secretly want. So that's always a good thing on there. I think my biggest takeaway is the Mario Kart 8 DLC. And a lot of people were kind of pissed about this because they were all hearing Mario Kart 9 is going to be announced. It's about time because it's 5 years old and this and that. And I'm here thinking, and I think you were too, why the hell would they stop the sales of Mario Kart 8 when it's still selling millions and it's on the top 20 every year? Why would they cut that off?
Yeah, because I think the big 4chan leak was, oh yeah, they're going to talk about Xenoblade Chronicles 3. There's going to be Mario Kart 9 announced, and when I saw this 4chan leak before the direct happened, I was just like, okay, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, I'll say 50%. And then when I saw the mention of Mario Kart 9, I was like, no way. I was just like, for the last, I think, 2 or 3 years, Nintendo has made Mario Kart 8 Deluxe a Christmas Switch bundle pack-in title.
Yeah.
And I was just like, there's no way. There's no way that they would release Mario Kart 9 so suddenly, especially when last year it was still being bundled with the Christmas bundles.
Right.
And I was just like, yeah, nothing to make people who recently got a Switch for Christmas real sour than to say, oh yeah, you know that Mario Kart 8 that came with your Switch? Oh yeah, it's garbage. The new hotness is Mario Kart 9.
I I would brush back. I would push back a little bit on that because in a bit, if you're a more ruthless business person, that's exactly what you would do to get rid of that stock, to, to put it in there, and then oh, you like 8, huh? Well, 9's coming.
Yeah, I mean, it's one way to get rid of the stock, but at the same time, Nintendo's always had sort of a boutique toy maker sort of mindset, and that's part of the reason why I was just like, yeah, there's no way that they would all of a sudden orphan everyone who got a Switch for Christmas with the Mario Kart 8
Yeah,
deluxe game bundled with it to all of a sudden be told, oh yeah, well, nine's the new hotness. Suck it up and deal with it.
yeah.
So once the announcement that the booster course pass was confirmed, I was just like, "Yep, knew it. It was going to be DLC. There's no way that Nintendo would just all of a sudden orphan a whole bunch of people who got Switch consoles for Christmas last year with a brand new version when it's just easier to go ahead and make a giant DLC pass."
Yeah. And I'm shocked by how big it is. 48 courses. Of course, it's going to come throughout the year. But
Yeah.
48 courses for $25.
Yep, and the courses will be divided over 6 distribution periods, I believe.
That is a great deal. That you're getting so much content there. And yes, of course, you're getting content from previous Mario Karts, but if they're being remade properly like the rest of them have been on Mario Kart 8, they're going to be good courses. So like to me this is a fantastic deal. Like if you have Mario Kart 8 and still playing it, you're getting this booster pass. And
Yeah.
and then you're going to look forward to every 2 months they get more courses. Fantastic.
Yeah, and the best part was something that Nintendo actually confirmed today on social media that if let's say you're on the fence about buying the booster course pass and you play online,
Mhm.
if one person, if at least one person has the booster course pass, then it's shared to everyone in the multiplayer lobby. So that's just a great way to sort of just get people into it going, hey, so check out this new course. It's from the booster course pass. Yeah, you should buy it. It's only, 25 bucks. I mean, great way to sort of share the courses around. And they also confirmed that um, this course sharing also works for local multiplayer. So, like, uh, if you're like at a local LAN party with a bunch of friends and you're all playing Mario Kart Switch or something via a local network, if one person has the booster course pass and they select a course from the course pass, yeah, everyone on the LAN gets to play it. So,
Interesting.
yeah, just absolutely brilliant play from Nintendo on this, and especially being priced at 25 bucks.
Yeah.
Oh, and also, apparently, just like the Animal Crossing DLC, if you subscribe to Nintendo Online and also have the expansion pack part of the subscription enabled, then the Booster Course Pass will be free as a expansion pass perk.
Is that what they're going to do with like their more popular titles? They're going to have new DLC come out throughout the year, and they're going to staple it to the expansion pack.
Yeah, it seems like that's the strategy that they're willing to go with, but it looks like it's only for games that seem to have a multiplayer component to them.
Okay, yeah,
Because Animal Crossing, um, while it's mostly got single player content, there is the whole bit of kind of visiting your friends' islands and trading stuff, and then Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is most definitely a game that benefits from being played online. So tying that to the expansion pass is a great way of saying, hey, well, you need Nintendo Online to play online with your friends, and just if you just bump up to the expansion pass level, you get N64 games, you get Genesis games. Oh, hey, guess what? You also get this booster course pass just bundled with your subscription too. There's no need for you to pay the extra $25 just to get it.
Eh, I mean, if you're one of those few people who have, well, that's not true. If you're one of the many people that have both games, and you're iffy on the DLC, but you're gonna get the pass, or you get the expansion pack, then sure, it's a good deal. But
Yeah,
even with that, I still wouldn't get the expansion pack. Like
yeah.
it
I'm still actually hesitant on the expansion pack as well for the Nintendo Online subscription, especially because just the benefits just don't seem that great right now. It's just like, okay, great. I get two free pieces of DLC. One game I don't own, another I do own, but the content doesn't start dropping until March. So
yeah.
that's cute. And the N64 games, some of them still have weird emulation problems, but good on Nintendo for trying to fix them. But still, this is stuff that should have been bulletproofed out, and um, there just doesn't really seem to be much benefit, in my opinion, to going with the expansion pack, other than, hey, if you have a lot of nostalgia for Genesis games and N64 games, yeah, sure, knock yourself out.
Hmm.
But um, to keep moving on, another thing that seemed to be a crowd favorite was Nintendo Switch Sports was announced.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't see how this is a crowd favorite, to be absolutely honest. But yeah, a lot of people were excited by this, and
Yeah,
I don't understand it. And this is coming from somebody who really loved Wii Sports Resort. Like
yeah. In my opinion, a lot of the excitement seemed to be, hey, 1-2 Switch was an absolutely terrible launch game,
oh yeah,
and Nintendo Switch Sports is the launch game that we deserved and everything. And of course, just here we are many years later. Hey, look, Nintendo Switch Sports is coming out. Oh my God, I can play tennis again. I can play bowling, and it's just been kind of hilarious just watching the online commentary over the announcement and everything.
this better be free. Is it free, or is there a pay? You have to pay for it.
It is a paid title, but they're
Ugh.
going to be doing a open beta test, I think, very soon,
Hmm.
to really test the network load and see if their servers are beefed up enough for it and everything. So um, it'll be interesting to see, because just um, sure, a beta test is great, but it's not going to suss out everything. Yeah, that's what it is. The beta test actually starts this Friday and runs into Saturday,
Mm. Okay,
but um, I want to
but
see how much it is.
yeah, that's where I'm. It should be free. I mean, but if it's gonna be, let's say, a $30 title, then I could see where some would enjoy it, especially those who aren't heavy gamers who have a Switch but don't buy anything for it. Uh,
Okay, so yeah, this is a little wacky in my opinion. So
okay.
um, the digital edition is going to be priced at a whopping $40, and there is a physical edition for it, but it's going to be $10 more expensive at $50. And the only reason for the difference in price is the fact that the physical edition will come with the leg strap that was originally bundled with Wii, or the Ring Fit Adventure bundle that had the fitness ring and also the leg strap. So that's the only difference in the pricing versus from the digital and physical edition. So if you're a person who already has the leg strap from Ring Fit Adventure, then um, save yourself the $10 and just go with the digital edition. But if you're someone who values having a physical copy or doesn't have the leg strap or both, then just get the physical edition, but know that you'll be paying $10 just because the leg strap being bundled in the box.
Okay. I don't know. It's gonna sell millions.
Oh
But
yeah, it most certainly will, and I almost joke and say that I could see it being like a popular nursing home game thing, just with bowling and everything. Because I remember when the original Wii Sports came out, and all, just you would see news reports that nursing homes were buying Wii consoles, and you would have old folks just playing bowling a shit ton.
I
So
threw out my back. I'm playing boxing with the orderly and he kicked my ass.
yep. So, and then you touched on it a little bit ago, but Xenoblade Chronicles 3 got announced, and really the only announcement was just sort of a story trailer, and hey, it's being worked on was really the main announcement that it got. So,
Yeah.
and then there were some smaller titles, and then some titles that got updated with some interesting updates. One that I thought was really interesting was the Metroid Dread update, which was being pushed. Um, so for anyone who fancies themselves as just one of the best Metroid players in their own right,
Mm-hmm.
there's a new one-hit death mode. So basically, one hit from anything will kill you.
Yeah.
So
That doesn't interest me too much. Well,
yeah,
mainly because one, that's not me, and two, Dread, as much as I liked it, I don't want to go back to it.
yeah.
Like,
Though the other part of the update that really kind of grinded my gears was the fact that there was a rookie mode, which one of the big things about rookie mode is apparently just the healing items heal much more
Really?
than the standard game. And for me,
but
I had just wanted to play Dread for the story, so
yeah.
um, it was just really frustrating having to really grind out just to get a full refill or something. But seeing this, I was like, oh, man, that would have been great, because um, I really didn't like the Emmy sequences, and some of the bosses just they were very spare on dropping healing items, and the additional healing from the healing items would have been great to have for me, but that was just kind of my take on it.
I thought the healing from regular enemies is pretty generous in the game, especially if you did the parry or not. Like if you did the parry, or what is it called?
Yeah, it was a parry. So yeah, just the parries were great for just getting a whole bunch of refill drops, but some of the bosses that were like real projectile heavy, where you could blow up their projectiles to get healing items and stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes the drops were super spare on like on the healing drops, and just seeing the rookie update, I was like, just as a person who's just primarily just playing for story, that would have been nice to have day one. But what can you do? I've already beaten the game, and I really don't foresee myself coming back to it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like I said, they're dipping into nostalgia into this. And until E3 is going to be the big announcements.
Yep.
Like I said, I don't think it's going to be Zelda or Metroid Prime this year.
Yeah, or if those two titles are this year, they're going to be real late this year.
I'm thinking December almost.
Yeah, because I think the new Zelda game, they did say that they are trying to shoot for a target date of um, uh, winter holiday 2022. So yeah, definitely can see that being the likely scenario.
Yeah. Oh, well, Bayonetta 3 is probably coming this year.
Yeah.
What else? We don't know.
As, and just to kind of round out some of the final things that were announced on the direct, Earthbound and Earthbound Beginnings is coming to Nintendo Switch Online. So anyone who is really excited for those games, yeah, you'll be seeing those come out soon.
They tease Earthbound so damn much. They might as well just do Mother 3. I mean,
Yeah. Supposedly, the rumor is there's some sort of weird, complicated rights stuff to mitigate
yeah.
regarding the music, I
Huh.
think. But I don't really keep up with the Earthbound Mother 3 saga, so I can't honestly comment.
I thought it was due to some of the content in the game. They stereotype gypsies in the game.
That might be another thing too. So, yeah, I
And with how the West is right now, you don't want to do it if you're Nintendo and you're who you are. You don't want to piss anybody off. So
yep. And even still, I mean, um, personally, I would rather have like a sort of like what you see on the Looney Tunes collection, where you'll see a little warning message saying, "Hey,
yeah,
this cartoon was made at a different time. Some of the things in here are definitely not social norms that we have for the modern day. Just understand that this is a product of its time." Um, Even something like that, I think would be great to see uh, on Mother 3, just to kind of give some context on just some of the design and story choices that they ran with on Mother 3. But who knows? It might just have to be sort of like uh, a Fire Emblem One remake that we saw sometime last year on the Switch, where they just do some quality of life stuff and change some things around and everything. So, who knows?
okay.
A little bit of a interesting thing to see was Gameloft releasing Disney Speedstorm, which is apparently going to be a free-to-play Mario Kart racer based on a bunch of Disney IP.
Not the greatest announcement to have on this one.
No, especially being quickly overshadowed by the Mario Kart booster course pass and everything.
Nope. Oh, one last thing. Kirby.
Yeah.
Kirby was given the spotlight in this.
Yeah.
I'm getting the feeling this is not going to sell very well.
I don't think the Kirby games have really sold well.
Well, the Kirby games recently have all been 2D, and they're known for being hilariously easy.
Yeah. I don't think Star Allies sold really well, because I've seen the game being consistently put on sale way under MSRP, both on the eShop and via physical copies and stuff. But yeah, just Forgotten Land looks interesting, and this particular
It does look interesting. I do like what I'm seeing.
yeah, this particular trailer focused on the new mouthful mode, which is just where Kirby tries to attempt to swallow something, but he cannot swallow and assimilate it. And sort of the first power that they showed on this was just Kirby trying to swallow a car, but he ends up not being able to swallow the car. He sort of envelops it and ends up being able to pilot this car and just kind of crash into enemy characters and sort of bulldoze his way through. And then, of course, they showed some of the other powers, like the light bulb power, where you can sort of illuminate completely dark rooms and things like that, and just sort of interesting little implementations on the power. So that'll be curious to see. I'd love to get that one, but I sort of had to learn my lesson with Star Allies, which that one quickly went on sale, and unfortunately for this one, I think I'm just going to have to wait for Forgotten Land to go on sale and maybe pick it up when it hits a pretty good below market price.
Yeah, unless the reviews are fantastic on it. Sales for Kirby Star Allies was 2,093,000 units.
Yeah, definitely not bad, but definitely not great either.
Yeah, for a Nintendo first party, that's kind of middling. But yeah, I'm just like I said, unless the reviews are fantastic, or they show more they show much more of it than they're showing now that is interesting, I see it being a critical darling, but not getting that great of sales.
Oh, totally agreed. Especially if it does review well, because it looks like it'll be a game that'll shape up to have great reviews.
Yeah. It looks kind of like a modded Super Mario Galaxy with Kirby.
Oh,
Super Mario,
that's a great comparison. Yeah,
not Super Mario Galaxy, Super Mario Odyssey with Kirby.
yeah,
Because it looks just like Super Mario Odyssey. It looks like a better Super Mario Odyssey, but it's what it looks like. But okay, I mean, Nintendo seems to be it's going to have an interesting few months. Let's see how things go. We'll keep you informed to see how far it goes for Nintendo this year.
yeah. And sort of to kind of cap off everything, I believe a few weeks ago was a financial meeting for Nintendo's last closing quarter, and one of the questions had came up that I think the Switch is coming to be almost 7 years old now.
Yeah.
And there were some questions by the investors of, hey, so we're going to hear about a new Super Switch or some sort of more powerful version. And
No.
I think the new president Furukawa basically said, "Oh no, we think the Switch is at the midpoint of its lifespan." So it's kind of interesting that this direct came out with a lot of sort of retro remakes, or just sort of games that are compilations or just full on remakes, like with the Front Mission first remake and the future planned Front Mission second remake coming out and everything, as things that are going to be the midline of the Switch's lifespan. So definitely sort of an interesting note for them to say that the Switch is in the middle of its life, and that this is going to be apparently a 14-year console now.
God. I mean, just because of the pandemic and all the chip shortages, I'm betting that's why that is the way it is right now. But, man, a 14-year console cycle with a console that already was out of date when it came out. I mean,
Yeah.
Nintendo can get away with it, but that means they have to have some serious R&D for the next one. And
Yeah,
knowing
either some
and
serious
knowing
R&D or just some sort of just killer bang on feature that just gets everyone insane about the next one.
See, I would think the next one would be another iteration of the Switch.
Oh,
But
I'd imagine so too.
but that's not going to blow people away. That's going to be, yeah, you're doing the next iteration of the Switch again. Okay, cool. And
Yeah.
now you have the Steam Deck that's coming out. It's gonna eat up all the. Well, will it eat up all? That's a good question. Let me. Will it eat up all of the sales for independent games?
Yeah. As far as the independent scene, I could definitely see the Steam Deck potentially eating into the sales, mostly because just some of the indie games on Switch, some of them have had performance issues just running on Switch, whereas sort of with PC, you can sort of throw a configuration to the wall, and unless your machine is a potato with sprouts coming out of it, then it's more likely going to be able to run most indie games that are released on Steam. Whereas just some indie games just have really bad optimization on Switch, and it's just kind of a wow, just how in the world did you release this so poorly optimized? And that's where it'll get interesting if it really starts to eat into the indie game sales on Switch. But that remains to be seen, especially since most people won't be getting their Steam Decks until maybe maybe February 25th when the the first batch of shipments start going to the general public. I was gonna say just really, it'll be interesting to see just if there is a potential for indie game sales being lost out on Switch due to the release of the Steam Deck. But the Steam Deck doesn't start hitting um, the general public until February 25th, which is when shipments to the general public start. So,
Yeah.
so we'll see. I think really the only way a brand new Switch-like console can maybe start wowing people is if maybe they step the power parity up by quite a significant deal, because I
Yeah.
think some people were speculating that the Switch was probably on parity with PS3 and Xbox 360 stuff,
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with
and
that.
to come out when the PS4 and the Xbox One were sort of in the middle of their life cycle was a little bit less than impressive in some people's minds. But yeah, I would say if Nintendo is trying to go for a 14-year console cycle, yeah, just whatever iteration and name that they decide to call it, be it Super Switch or whatever, it's gonna have to have some sort of graphical parity on par with what's currently out there. And if what's currently out there is going to be the mid-life cycle of the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, that might be a bit of a tall order to fill and keep into a very compact chassis.
Yeah. I mean, I can't see how you can have a 14-year life cycle for a console and not have to completely redo what you're going to do for the next one, being Nintendo. You've built your company around not being like the others and not just reiterating on the same tech. Although that would be the more cost-effective thing to do. But the thing also is Nintendo only has their games division. So if they fail, and this happens every time they fail, they're on the brink of collapse and they're going to get sold, and then they become a success and they're printing money. So
Yeah, and Nintendo's actually got a lot more liquid cash than a lot of people would like to believe, and that's why just when they have things that fail, like the Wii U, they can just say, "Yeah, it was a failure, but we're not in that much of danger, so we'll get it right the next time around." And here we are with the Switch, where they got it right the next time around.
all right, Zero. Well, that about does it for this podcast. I mean, we dug right into Lost Ark, into the Nintendo Direct, and we learned a lot of things across the way. That's what's most important.
Yeah, and then maybe some speculation on Nintendo's future towards the end.
Yeah. Well, for Zero, I am the Wiz, and this is a cooperative game chat. We'll hope to hear from you next time. Well, hopefully, like I just said, hope to hear from you next time.
Yep. We'll see you next week, and hope you guys stay tuned.
Yep. Bye-bye.